Shalom.
Shalom, everyone.
This is Awake, O Israel Ministries, where our main mission is to teach the Bible and awake the 12 tribes of Israel, who are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans and Seminole Indians. Our lesson tonight is we're going to talk about Revelation 18 and the fall of Babylon, which is America.
Okay, and also Caucasians, we try to reach them too and let them know that they do have to keep the law and Christ. They have to find out, to research like we did, that you have to keep the law, the Sabbath, the holy days, the feast days.
Mm-hmm. So, and everybody is starting to get darker earlier, so it gets dark at 5:20, 5:28 now. So on Saturday, early Saturday, we'll be on at dark, and before dark on Saturday evening.
Okay, so as it gets dark, as day meets day, yeah, that's when we go on.
Then before, about an
hour, maybe an hour and a half before Saturday night gets dark.
So,
and we're on. You can catch us like tonight. Tonight's Monday. We're on
tonight. We try to do at least two Bible studies a week.
Right.
Mondays and Wednesday nights.
Tonight we want to speak to our viewers about some issues, people we meet. Josh and me go out a lot. You know, we have a cup of coffee or a drink. You know, soda or coffee, and we meet a lot of people like this, and it's amazing.
There's a great level of biblical ignorance, and that's why we are here to edify the viewers with not only scripture but history. How does history confirm what the Bible teaches? We know the Bible to be the most accurate book, but what else? I got a video. I'm going to share a little of this. Then we're going to go into Revelation 18 and show you, without a doubt, America is modern Babylon.
Oh yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Was ever living out there and listening, women or men? That's the truth. America is fallen.
We're going to show you the history of the 10 tribes, who are the Israelites, the Indians, so-called natives. So before, I need to keep this on a time schedule. So
we're not going to be too long tonight, but you know,
we always say that, but
well, we try not to be, because what we did when we first went on, we were going on really too long, like 2.5 hours, and many people who were probably not really listening because it was too long maybe for them, and because if they're churchgoers and they're not used to really hearing teaching through the word, they get impatient, right, after a half hour.
Well, that's not our problem.
Right, no.
Yeah, I understand. But people, you have to always...
Yeah, this is a teaching ministry. And now I believe, because Josh is showing these films, we're actually getting more viewers. We're spending a little less time on, but we're actually getting more in than we did.
We may not get as much view, but we're putting more information for our viewers in the videos. Yeah. Not only scripture, but now we're starting to bring the historical
real life answers for you.
So we're going to start 11 minutes.
From Aboriginal to the present day by John Clark Redpath, I believe, 1876. Regarding the characteristics, that's right. The Indians were strongly marked with national peculiarities. The most striking characteristic of the race was a certain sense of personal independence, willfulness of action, freedom from restraint. You heard that? They want to be free. They're independent people. They don't want to be ruled. To the red man's imagination, the idea of a civil authority which should subordinate his passions, curb his wills, and thwart his purposes was intolerable. Among this people, no common enterprise was possible unless made so by the currents of free wills. Okay? Intolerable. I know you feel like that too. It's intolerable. Injustice. No justice.
Who was here before Columbus? I know you see a lot of pictures of the Indians and the natives, and light skin like me, long hair, a little bit like me. some of like Chinese darker stuff. But that came after. That was the Mongolian Asian migration. Okay, that was after. The original tribes were couple colored. I'm going to show you. That's what I'm going to show you right now.
I was referencing the Mayas earlier. You know, and all of that.
What color are they?
The Aztecs.
And dark brown.
Creation, how it's very similar to the Bibles.
Now look at this. This is what the original inhabitants of America look. Look at these afros. Native Americans with afros.
And you see how becoming.
And you would swear they would look. They would. If you didn't know better, you swear these people were Negroes.
Wow. And that really tells your heritage. That's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Now,
that's the Aztec.
What I'm about to tell you.
Look at this.
Might be out of your thinking, but
the face of a lion.
What if I told you that?
Look at that, Tony. The lion's face.
Over here.
Wow.
Now see these fringes? The fringes on the border of the garments. The Native Americans. Get Numbers 15:37.
Numbers 15:37. Okay.
Where did they get that from? Numbers 15 and 37. Remember fringes, right? These little borders here and these fringes. Where did they get that custom from, the Native Americans?
Tony, I need my yellow marker. Yeah, please, brother. Like 15:7, Josh?
37.
Oh, 37. Oh, no, I got it, Tony. I got it highlighted. Thank you, brother. Okay, Numbers 15:37.
Uh-huh.
Fringes on garments.
Mm-hmm.
And the Most High spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and bid them that they make them fringes.
They make them what?
Fringes.
Like this individual has on their garment here. Fringes.
Come on. In their borders of their garments, throughout their generations.
Okay.
So even now, we're supposed to do that.
This side of the world.
They're supposed to do that.
American continent, north, south, central. A lot were the biblical tribes talked about in the Old Testament, as well as in reference to the Hebrew ones, the Israelite tribes, the tribes of Judah, the tribes of the 12 tribes. So it says here, from etymology online, let's go right there right now. See what I'm showing you right here? For a reason. So Yahweh, right? Or let's see, what do we call Jehovah, right? Etymology. Tinsel transliteration of Hebrew tentagram Yahweh. These are the vowel points of Adonai, my Lord. See Yahweh. Use Yahweh. Okay, so let's go to Yahweh. Okay, let's read this very carefully now. Yahweh. 1869 hypothetical reconstruction of the tetragrammation YHWH, see Jehovah, based on the assumption that the tetragrammation is the imperfective of Hebrew word Hawa, earlier form of Ahayah, was, in the sense of the one who is, existed. And so it says here, I am that I am. It is the common English translation of the response that God used in the Hebrew Bible when Moses asked for his name, Exodus 3:14. It's one of the most famous verses in the Torah. Ahayah means existed. In Hebrew, Ahayah is the first person singular imperfect form and is usually translated in Bible. English Bible says, I am, or I will be, or I shall be. For example, Ahayah literally translates as I am who I am. Okay, so what did it tell you? One of the most most famous verses in the Torah. So it says here, in appearance, it is possible to render Yahweh as an archaic third person singular perfect form of Ahayah, to be, meaning, therefore he is. It is notably distinct from the root al, which can be used as simple noun to refer to the creator, deity, general creation agrees. Where God is represented as speaking, hence as used in the first person, Ahayah, I am. Other scholars regard the transcendental root of Hawa as more like the origin of the name Yahweh, Hawa, and Ahayah. Earlier form of Ahayah, Hawa, Ahayah, Ahayah, Ahayah. Now sing with me. Ahayah, 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 Ahayah. You see what I'm trying to tell you? You think they were just saying Ahayah for nothing? So Yahweh, they were saying Yahweh in their way, the original way. Oh Lord, oh God, Creator, I am, He exists, to be. Okay? The most important kind of freedom is to be what you really are. You trade in your reality for a role. You trade in your sense for an act. You give up your ability to feel, in exchange, put on a mask. There can't be any large-scale revolution until there's a personal revolution on an individual level. It's got to happen inside first. Hey, hey. So it says here, Webster's Dictionary, 1828, American, adjective pertaining to America. American, a noun, a native of America, originally applied to the aboriginals or copper-colored races found here by the Europeans, but now applied to the descendants of Europeans born in America. All right? I don't know if you guys just understood that, but I'll do it one more time. In Webster's Dictionary, 1828. American, originally applied to the aboriginals or copper-colored races found here by the Europeans. Copper-colored races. Copper-colored races. Hey, 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 copper-colored race. The original inhabitants of America were of dark complexion, dark people. The lighter Asian Mongolians came later. You know your history. You know who you are. Continuing in the book, A Popular History of the United States of America from John Clark Ridpath, it says, beyond the Rocky Mountains are the Indian nations of the plains, the great family of the Shoshones, the Salish, the Klamaths, the Californians. On the Pacific slope farther southward dwelt in former times the famous races of the Aztecs and Toltecs. These were the most civilized of the primitive Indian nations. But at the same time, also the most evil and the best builders of wood and stone.
Not savages.
Now, we've done many lessons in the future about the different names people refer to. And the reason the Indians were using the term Ahayah because they were using God's name, Ahayah, in abbreviated form.
Okay.
So the Most High name is Ahayah, and we've shown that plenty times on this. I might show that before we close.
And the son's name is Yashayah.
More like a many of the Aborigines. Yeah, right. Such a brief sketch of the distribution of the copper-colored race in the New World. So again, such is a brief sketch of the distribution of the copper-colored race in the New World. Do you know who you are? Can you remember? Hey,
proud of the fellow.
You know who you are.
Cut the arm.
Chief.
Look at her.
I don't see no savage. You just.
I see civilized people.
I see a learned people. I see a mighty, strong people.
That were made savages by the Europeans.
That's right. Say it again, Josh.
They were made savages by religion and by the Europeans.
Through that crap religion, Christianity on them.
Look at the original face of America.
Original part, the upper region.
Look at that. The face of a lion, John. Yeah,
Israelites.
There's Israel, folks.
Here by the Europeans.
You're ashamed of him. He's going to be ashamed of you. I'm telling you. Don't be ashamed to be called a Hebrew. You hear this, brother Joe? Know who you are. Do your history. Do your,
Mexico, Central America.
Look at that, Josh. So Mexico is considered Central America?
Cherokee, Choctaw, Native.
Yeah, the Toltecs, Aztecs, Incas, Mayans. Those.
Look at it. Now we pale. Look at that. Look at this. Now, how'd they get white? Yeah, we can show you that too, why they look whiter today. They forced them to mix with their races, their lighter races. And they forced them. If they didn't do it, they would kill them.
So now
they were raped.
We're going to go into Revelation 18.
All right.
That's the end of that clip. I'm going to get the other one ready. Revelation 18. Hold on, because I want everyone to be able to follow us. I'm glad I found out how to show stuff, because it's really.
I show a long time ago. It's okay. The Most High's time, Josh.
That storm means something.
We cannot believe the views now, right, Josh? Awesome. See, we've done this also. I want to say this again, Josh. So you can know that we're not the only ones, and I'm sure you know that by now, that have this understanding and this truth.
But there's a depth of information in the Bible that people don't even realize is there, because religion has programmed people not to read the Bible.
Much, and that's it. That's right. That's right.
Revelation 18.
Okay, Revelation 18. The beginning, Josh?
We're going to learn about America. What is America's future according to
Give them a little foundation, Josh, because when they hear this, they live in a country where they think they have it made and nothing's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Give them a little platform about America and why we know it's Babylon.
Well, as we showed you when we did our lesson on Revelation 17, and we showed you the whore that sits on many waters, that's referring to the American or the Roman military bases that America set up throughout the earth.
That's right. Tell them
and we showed you the modern Roman army, which is America, and their navy, which is the American Navy. So Revelation 18:1.
And after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon, the great is fallen, is fallen.
In other words, this America is double fallen. In other words, there's no saving it. So for all you people trying to pray for this nation, you're wasting your time, because America is done with. That's that's what Christ said through the prophet John. Through the apostle John.
And it's become the habitation of devils.
Every wicked thing that you can get your hands on is in America.
All your holy holidays are devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird.
So those referring to spirits. This nation is full of wicked and evil demons, spirits, and those spirits are on people. That's why we have to realize our warfare is not against the flesh. It's against principalities, powers, rulers.
That's right.
So we have to tear down strongholds within us that society and religion have put in us to understand this truth. Read.
For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath.
So America hasn't, the system of America hasn't just destroyed America.
Come on.
It's destroyed
the world.
The world.
and they're mad. Every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. And the kings of the earth.
So now the kings are like your Queen of England, your dukes, your sheiks, your caliphates, your ruler, all the rulers of the earth technically. Read.
And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth.
So the merchants are your bankers, your sellers, your money chain, the Jewish who control the banks.
Everything.
Elite, rich Jewish people.
That's right. That you don't see and know. Merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies.
Read.
And I heard another voice from heaven saying, "Come out of her." Stop. Listen to this. Come out of her. You got to come out of religion, Christian. You are not. You're going to have a slight chance to make it.
Come out of her who?
Of her religion.
Of her
ways.
Of her what? My
fornication.
What? Come out of her my what?
My people. Look
Who
at
is
that.
His people?
Come on, Josh.
Who is His people? The Israelites.
That's right.
Like we just got showing you, and everybody else under the sound of this voice right now, you have to get out of America. You have to get out of the system and out of its religion, this Christian religion.
That's right. That ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. Okay, Josh.
So
hold on. Okay,
the Most High doesn't want us to be partakers of the plagues of this nation.
That's right. Come on.
So, verse 5, for her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High, which is Ahayah, hath remembered. God has not forgotten what America has done, everybody. He has remembered her iniquities.
Come on.
Don't think God has forgotten what America has done. And He's going to pay her back to the...
Yeah, I want to say something real quick. Here's what I hear on the streets. Oh, get over it, brother. That's the past, and God has forgiven that. No, He has not. No, He has, and we're going to read it to you. He has not.
That's what the wicked want you to believe.
That's right.
That's not what the Bible says. The Bible says God has remembered what the evil in the past.
Wow.
And He wants you to remember it. Not to hate anybody,
no,
but to know what's coming.
That's right.
So you don't repeat your past.
For her sins have reached unto heaven, and Ahayah hath remembered.
Hath what? He's
not remembered.
He has what?
Remembered.
Read.
Her iniquity.
Read.
Reward her even as she.
Now the angel is saying this to the Most High. Reward her. Read.
And double unto her, double according to her work.
So he says not only reward her, but double the judgment.
Wow.
Wow.
In the cup which she hath filled, what? Filled full. Fill to her double. Wow.
Stop. Now, how do we know this is America? Read the next. Keep reading.
All right. Fill to her double. How much she hath glorified herself.
Stop. Somebody out there, ask yourself, what nation on the earth glorifies itself above everybody else? Wants you to think it's superior to everybody.
Come on.
Read.
And live deliciously.
What nation enables people that come here to live rich, live without care?
Come on.
Drink all you want, eat all you want, drown your life with riches and comfort. Read.
So much torment.
So much what?
Torment.
Blessing.
Torment.
Peace.
Torment.
Love.
And sorrow.
And what?
And sorrow. Give her.
You have something to add to that?
Yeah, I want to say something real quick. Today, the Most High led me to go a different way today, and I really try to hear her voice, Holy Spirit of feminine gender. And sure enough, McDonald's on Blanding in Jacksonville here, someone shut their windows out, and I was going to go there. You see the crime and murder you people are letting happen in America by celebrating these holidays? All right. Okay.
Next verse. Read.
Okay. So much torment and sorrow give her, for she said in her heart or spirit.
Now ask yourself, what nation thinks about this and thinks this way and talks about herself like this? Read.
I sit a queen.
So, in other words, I sit in power. In other words, nobody can challenge. That's no other nation thinks that way about herself but America. Read.
Wow. And am no widow.
So I won't lose it. Who's gonna hurt me? Nobody can challenge me.
And shall see no sorrow.
So I won't see no trouble. No one is ever gonna take my kingdom from me.
Come on. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day.
Her what?
Plagues.
Her blessing.
Plagues.
Her love from God.
Plagues. Come in one day.
Read.
Death.
What?
Death.
Love.
Death.
Life.
Death. Mourning. And famine.
And what?
And famine.
And hunger.
Wow.
And what that?
Famine.
Read.
And she shall be utterly.
She shall be what?
Utterly.
No, she won't be.
Utterly.
She will be what?
Utterly. Burned.
With what?
With fire.
So that's the future of America.
That's right.
America will be burned by the Hamashiach.
Don't put your hope in this nation, folks. You better not.
And when we use the term Hamashiach, that's just the Hebrew way of saying Messiah.
When
so
you hear,
the Messiah is going to come back. Christ is going to come back and burn America with fire.
When you get people come to you, Christians, and you're not learned yet in this, and they ask you to invest in America, don't do it. Don't tithe your money to no church. They're lying to you. There are no apostles. There's no speaking in tongues. We got it all on our pages. How much? Okay, we got that. Wow. Burned with fire. For strong is the Most High power, who judgeth her.
Who loveth her.
Who judgeth her. You know, the word says that we should rejoice.
When the Most High judge.
Yeah. Wow, Josh.
Read that.
And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication.
In other words, not only
sexual,
but intellectual. They've taken the philosophy, the religion, the government system. Read.
And live deliciously with her.
In other words, because of this, the bankers, the money changers, the Khazarian Jews have enriched anybody who chooses to take their agenda. Read.
With her shall bewail her and lament for her.
Read.
When they shall see the smoke of her burning.
Standing
afar off for the fear of her torment. Saying, alas, alas, that great city America, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come.
So, who is this mighty city that rules over the earth?
Who sits upon many
Babylon.
waters? That's right.
Or the UN.
How do they sit on many waters? We'll look at the
I'll
United
show
Nations.
you.
Yeah, show them, Josh.
I'll show you an image, 2 images here to prove that this is America.
Christian church always pointing to Rome, pointing to this country, that country.
Yeah, Rome runs the world through America still.
Right, through the Rothschilds, that's right. But you're sitting right in Babylon tonight, whether you know it or not, or whether you want to believe it or not.
This is the world. This is just if you want to do it yourself, and I'll just show you one picture here. This is the United States military bases all over the earth. That's just in Africa. So the U.S. is the fulfillment of the beast that carries the whore.
Come on.
The whore is Rome. The beast is the United States.
And the system of the Rothschilds.
And
they own everything in the world. And they run the world.
And this, wait, and this is the city that rules the earth now, the United Nations in New York. That's the city that is going to fall when Christ comes back. And let me show you.
Oh yeah.
So everyone can reference this. That is.
You think your government loves you, huh?
That is the seat of Rome. And here's the Roman army. Roman army.
And look what's flying near them.
The Roman flag, the new Roman flag.
And on that American flag, they are fallen angels. Those
and look at this. To show you they're Roman. This is a 6-pointed star. If you turn this upside down, and let me show you.
Oh, right, Josh. Yep. The tetragram, the bahashem. Wow, man. It's amazing how people tell me this doesn't matter, none of this matters. I don't, huh? You know, you're going to find out you're wrong. Man, woman, who's ever listening. And I hope,
like we just said,
you do the research yourself. Look
if you turn off that star upside down,
look at this.
It's the goat head. That's Satan's army or Rome.
Okay.
And that's the god of the true god of America's government.
Why? Watch this. Why? Because the president tells you you can have any religion in America. It's okay.
Okay. Revelation 18.
9. No. 8.
10.
10. 10.
Wait.
10. You're right.
11.
No, you're right. 10. I'm right. 11. That's right. 11. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore. The merchandise of gold, silver, precious stones, pearls, fine linen, purple, silk, scarlet.
Tell me what, and you got to think about this. What nation can you go and find all this merchandise in at one time? America.
That's right.
Read.
And all thine wood. And all manner vessels of ivory, and all manner vessels of most precious wood, and brass, iron, and marble, and cinnamon, odors, ornaments, frankincense, and wine, and oil, and fine flour, and wheat, and beasts, and sheep, and horses, and chariots, and slaves. America's got slaves, don't they? And souls of men. And the fruits that thy soul lusted after are departed from thee. And all things which were dainty and goodly are departed from thee. And thou shalt find them no more at all. The merchants of these things, which were made rich by her, shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing, and saying, Alas, alas, that great city that was clothed in fine linen.
And what one city in America can you go and get anything, really? New York.
That's right. And purple, scarlet, decked with gold, precious stones, pearls. For in 1 hour, so great riches is come to naught.
So America can't hide itself according to Scripture.
That's right.
America is that Babylon, speaking of in the Bible.
Come on. And keep going. And every shipmaster and all the company ships and sailors, and as many as trade by sea, stood afar off and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, what city is like unto this great city? Doesn't people say that all over the world? Great city, New York City is the greatest city. And they cast dust on their heads and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, alas, alas, that great city wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea by reason of her coastlines.
Okay. What nation is the wealthiest ship-faring nation in the world? We are, aren't we? America?
Sure we are.
Where do all the ships come to? America.
That's right.
Read.
For in 1 hour is she made desolate. Rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets.
And what?
And prophets.
Apostles and prophets. Who are the apostles and the prophets? The Old Testament and the apostles.
That's right. No, there's not here today.
It's not religion.
Come on.
Read.
For Ahayah hath avenged you on her.
Who has he avenged the blood of his people, the Israelites?
Now that proves right there are no apostles today.
Read.
Well, including registrars. And a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea, saying, thus with violence shall thou great city Babylon be thrown down.
So with the same violence you could that America built this nation on, the blood of Israel, the Most High going to take your blood for it.
And shall be found no more at all. Wow.
Wow.
And the voice of harpers, musicians, and pipers, and trumpeters shall be heard no more at all in thee. And no craftsman or whatsoever craft he be shall be found any more in thee. And the sound of a millstone shall be heard no more at all in thee. And the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in thee. And the voice of the bridegroom and the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee. It's going to be utterly destroyed. Every tree, every branch,
everything.
Everything. The rockets are going to come from all over the world to hit America. For thy merchants were the great men of the earth.
So your merchants are the ones who control the money, the banks. The Federal Reserve is now controlled by America. Research is controlled by outside families that don't even live in America. It's a private bank controlled by elite, rich Jewish people.
For by thy sorceries.
By thy what?
For by thy sorceries.
What nation is the most
demonic?
The most wickedest satanic occult practices in it.
You know it. It's on TV. You watch it. The Long Island media, the California
mediums, witches.
And in her was found the blood of prophets.
The blood of what?
The blood of prophets.
The blood of you, so-called black and Hispanic.
Come on, read. The ones who died and that don't know who you are too. And of saints.
Who are the saints? The Israelites.
Come on. And of all that were slain upon the earth.
So America has gone all over the earth and killed. Is that it?
Yeah.
Oh, that was fast.
So we'll watch some clips.
So now, no, let me finish.
Oh.
No. Yeah, let me, what was I saying?
Go ahead, Josh.
America has gone, what does the Bible say? By thy sword shall thou live.
Come on.
By thy sword, Genesis 47, Genesis 27, 39, and 40.
The nations and the powers of the earth are the Rothschilds, and they're living by power and bombs, military.
Yeah.
That's a sword.
The sword, when you read that about Esau, the sword, when you think about the sword, think about the military today.
That's right.
The American military, or i.e. the Roman military.
That's right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And again, we showed you just now.
Nothing to be afraid of, folks.
The symbol of the American army is the Baphomet star.
That's right.
If you turn that star upside down, you get the goat head or Satan right in the center, letting you know who the army is really working for.
Who eats at McDonald's? You see those? What do you call them? The two yellow things, Josh?
The wings.
The wings. That's the Baphomet wings. We know what's going on in there too, but we're not going to tell you that.
The earlier form of Ahayah was in the sense the one who is existent. So you see that? Are you hearing that, right? Yahweh, right? Hawa. Let's go back. What does it say there?
This
This
is
day, the
different.
Cherokee called Creator Yahweh, Hawa, Yahweh, which does resemble Hawa or Hawa, which would be short term for Beltrami called the Iowa River. The Hawa, Yahweh, etymology. The assumption that the tetragrammation is the imperfective. The assumption that the tetragrammation is the imperfective of the Hebrew verb Hawa. How close is that, man? In the Book of Hopi by Frank Waters, the sun god is referred to as the creator. The sun god is referred to as the creator by the name Hawa, a combination of Tau and Wa. The Paleo-Hebrew Tau, the symbol of the sun, also called the mark of the cross. The Hebrew Aleph, Tau, are the first and last letters in the Hebrew alphabet. The Chickasaw Indians call the creator Chihuahua, Yahweh, or Hawa. The Chickasaw Indians call the creator Chihuahua, Hawa. So it says here, Chicken Itza.
He's pushing that yacht.
In Mayan count, Chichen Itza. After 40 years of wandering, they finally reached Chichen Itza, the Popol Vuh. Hebrew meaning James Strong's Hebrew lexicon. So it says, comparison to the Mayan Chichen Itza, the Hebrew Sheshin Itza, phonetic Shish Itza, Chichen Itza, Sheshin Itza. Joyously brought forth, meaning. The biblical usage of this expression is the exact context of leaving Egypt, that is, after 40 years of wandering, as used by the Popol Vuh, or Psalms 105:43. This similarity of words and ideas and parallel between two diverse cultures, such as the Maya and Israelite, is no mere coincidence. The accepted academic theory that Catholic Jesuit priests during the Conquest era embroidered the minds of the Maya neophytes with biblical stories will not work in these instances where it is abundantly clear that the very Mayan language specific words are the same as Hebrew. This, the Spanish Jesuits could never have.
Just to point out, I'll show you. We'll show the name right fast, but the native, so-called Native Americans spoke Hebrew.
That's right.
That's pretty much what this brother is bringing out. So, if these people, how do they possess the language of Hebrew? The only logical conclusion is what? They are the Hebrews.
That's right.
Wow.
Right.
Let's listen and learn. Right?
And they desire. One must ask the question: why would the Spaniards have desired such a thing in the first place? What advantage would result from teaching the Maya people a new language? In this instance, it was
Wait a minute.
one educated Maya.
See, the Spaniards had to teach the Maya or the Indians another language.
Their language. They forced it on them.
The Maya spoke Hebrew, the Hebrew or the Israelite tongue.
That's right.
So the Spanish gave them Latin or Spanish.
Transcribed and transliterated the Popol Vuh into Spanish Roman characters. It says again, Mayan pizza chicken, meaning, and he brought forth his people with joy. And he brought forth his people with joy. The next Sheshen, joy, is from relief, both from slavery and 40 years of wandering in the desert as punishment for sins and actions against Yahweh. Just who was this Mayan hero that did the same things as that Moses did? It was indeed Moses. Kukulkan was Moses. As we shall see in the following evidence, this is exactly the case. A Mayan account of the leader's name, Kukulkan, place named Chacamputun, Bolompel Tzitz, Chichen Itza. In this same region, at a place called Chacamputun, there lived a space of 250 years a tribe called the Itza. The tribe came from the land of Bolompes, Beats, in a cartoon 8 of the Maya short count. Any 20-year period. A group of Maya-speaking people began slowly moving slowly northeastward across the peninsula. Part of these, at least, were the Itza, and the leader named Kukulkan, having been living in what is now southwestern Campeche for some 2 2 to 2.5 centuries, after 40 years of wandering, they finally reached Chichen Itza, where they established their capital, the Popol Vuh. Page 67. It says Genesis 21:12 states that Abraham's descendants shall be called by the name of Isaac. 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 Amos uses 3 names for the one group. Verse 9 uses Isaac, Israel, and Jerusalem. Verse 16 has Israel and the house of Isaac. Kukulkan in Mayan God in Legend of Myth, aka Quetzalcoatl. Kukulkan parted the sea and then led the people 40 years in the wilderness. Hebrew meaning Kukuk, lawgiver. Law, highest. Khan, priest. Yup. Khan, priest.
Wow.
Comparison to my Kukulkan. Phonetic Kukuk and Khan, law-given high priest. That's what Kukulkan means. Moses was a high priest. The biblical equivalent of Kukulkan.
Again, this is showing you the culture that was stolen even from the natives.
Wow.
They had all these terms for, and they even had stories. They carried the stories of their deliverer Moses here to America.
So how did they get this word savage? Did they make that up, Josh?
Yeah, because they had the Europeans had to make an excuse to justify them murdering you.
Oh, I see. Yeah, yeah.
The natives.
So
they called them savages.
Right.
Let's learn.
Is Moses.
So there's no doubt the Native Americans are the Israelites.
Oh,
yes, he spoke face to face.
But we're gonna keep But we're gonna keep sharing more information from these documentaries. And always fact check everything we give you. Never take what we give you for face value. Always research it.
That's right.
Moses,
you want to stop here and tell you something else?
Yeah,
No.
Got another couple minutes here. I got time.
direction helped Moses brought forth the Israelites out of
This is
Egypt
good,
after 400 years of slavery.
Wow.
First northwestward across the Soup Sea and the Foot into Sinai Peninsula, then generally eastward into the wilderness, Paran and Midian. For 39 years of wandering, in the 40th year, Israel crossed the Jordan River, westward into their portion of the Promised Land of Canaan. As soon as the Israelites crossed the Soup Sea, they were actually within the borders of the greater Promised Land, as they find in Genesis. It's that part of the sea. The Annals of the Caciques, translated from the Cacique Maya by Adrian Recinos and Delia Goetz, titled The Lords of Totonicapán. Okay? This book, almost like the Popol Vuh Maya, the Quichua Nation. The Annals of the Caciques, also known by alternative Spanish as the Annals of Memoria of Teopan Atitlan. This is a manuscript written in Caciquel by Francisco Hernandez Araya in 1571 and completed by his grandson Francisco Rojas in 1604. The manuscript describes the legends of the Caciquel nation and historical mythological components. It's considered an important historical document on post-classic Maya civilization in islands of Guatemala. It's very important. The título de Totonicapán, or the title of the Totonicapán. The introductory section of the title includes large parts of the Teología Indora, written in Dominican Friar Domingo de Vito in the mid-16th century. In the 1953 translation by Delia Goetz, she says, the said manuscript consists of 31 quarto pages. The translation of the first pages is omitted because they are on the creation of the world. Of Adam, the earthly paradise in which Eve was deceived not by a serpent but by Lucifer himself, as an angel of light. It deals with the posterity of Adam, following in every respect the same order as Genesis and the sacred books as far as the captivity in Babylonia. The manuscript assumes that 3 great Quiche nations with which it particularly deals are the descendants of the 10 tribes of the kingdom of Israel, who Shalmaneser reduced to perpetual captivity and who finding themselves on the border of the Syrian sought to immigrate. And you just read that, okay? So what is she saying? The manuscript assumes that the three Kisha nations with which each particular deals are descendants of the 10 tribes of the kingdom of Israel. So it says, from Toulon, the ancestors traveled west across the Sea of the Highlands of Guatemala, according to the Título de Patulan. 7 caves, 7 canyons. Remember that, 7 caves and 7 canyons. Was in the other part of the ocean where the sun rises. They were the descendants of Israel, of the same language and same customs. When they rose from Patulan, Pasivan, the leader of the 3 tribes was Barak, the great father, Naxid, gave them a present called Giron Gagal. When they arrived at the edge of the sea, Barak touched it with his staff, and at once he cracked open, which closed up again.
Okay. More information and proof here of who the natives are. Native Americans, so-called Native Americans. I'm going to show 2 more things before we close.
We take a lot of things for granted.
The Most High says in His word,
Yashayah, grab what we feel like.
He'll be ashamed of you on that day if you're ashamed of Him.
In Israel, we were okay with that rule. We were saying, okay, that's their cultural rule that they must follow, and everyone was okay with it, right? But now that the truth is coming out of who the Israelites really truly are, that is the so-called black people who have been shipped into slavery all over the world, now all of a sudden everyone wants to rewrite what the Most High has already made very clear in His word. As you see with the many scriptures we've brought out, and there's many more that we haven't even covered, the scripture makes it very clear that this actually angers the Most High. Mm-hmm. And because of this particular sin, certain judgments would fall on the children of Israel. Now, we have seen that happen. He said that marrying outside of our people and marrying the people of these other nations where He was going to disperse us, He said because of our disobedience, He was going to allow them to be a trap and a snare to us until we're destroyed. That's been made very clear. But yet again, most of us are like this. I don't care what the Most High says. I hear what it says, but I'm going to rewrite the meaning for that. I'm going to lean to my own understanding. And I'm going to say that it's actually hate to say that you can't marry who you love. Some of us get very angry and very bitter when we hear anyone talking about this. When really your anger is not against the person who's talking about it. You're really angry at the Most High. You're really shaking your fist at Him, saying, how dare you tell me who I can marry? And it's for these reasons that the Most High has continued to pour out His judgment on us. I mean, this is not the only thing that has caused us to be separated from our Father. This is one of many things. And as we saw in the passage in chapter 30 of Jubilee, the book of Jubilee, the Most High said, I'm never going to change my mind on this. This is a rule that I'm not going to change my mind on. And so we as a people, we've got to come to terms with what the Most High says and walk in obedience, or He will continue to judge us for the sins of our forefathers and our current sins in disobeying His laws.
Ezra chapter 10, verse 3 and verse 10 through 11. We have trespassed against our God and have taken strange wives of the people of the land. Yet now there is hope in Israel concerning this thing. Now therefore let us make a covenant with our God to put away all the wives, and such as are born of them, according to the counsel of my master, and of those that tremble at the commandments of our God, and let it be done according to the law. And Ezra the priest stood up and said unto them, Ye have transgressed and have taken strange wives to increase the sins of Israel. Now therefore make confession unto Yahweh God of your fathers, and do His pleasure, and separate yourselves from the people of the land, and from your strange wives.
Furthermore, we have to recognize that women live longer than men. So if I, as an African man, marry a European woman, or a Chinese woman, or an East Indian woman, or an Arab woman, what other wealth I accumulated in my life, when I die, my wealth goes over to the woman of that race. We need that money to build the institutions and industries. So how does a black man with full consciousness who claims to be loyal to his mother and loyal to his people marry a woman who is not in the image of his mother, whom he knows after he dies is going to take his resources and give them to her race, not his? Marrying outside of your race for an African man anywhere on earth is one of the greatest acts of racial betrayal, treason, and treachery. It is absolutely intolerable and disrespectful to black women. With so few black women finding husbands, how do you find it in your soul to marry somebody else's daughter who you know is only eloping with you because she has education, income, economics, privilege, position, or property? These women are not marrying poor black men. They're marrying well-educated black men on purpose. It has nothing to do with love. If it was about love, why can't we find rich East Indian women, rich Chinese women, rich white women marrying poor black men? Why is it always well-educated and stable black men marrying poor white women, Chinese women, or East Indian women? In Africa right now, we have a situation in Nigeria where African women are marrying Chinese men. Chinese men are exploiting these women's desire to marry outside of their race and hopefully improve their economic stability.
No, that's
not what they're reaching out for the Chinese men because they're poor. And when they see the Chinese face, they assume that all of them are wealthy, which is not true. In fact, most of the Chinese coming into Africa are coming there poor, but they're the
I agree that you should prefer your race above anybody else, but you got to be careful with these different camps and the doctrines they bring. The Bible does not say to put away your wife if you married somebody. That's not what the Bible says. Okay? Those were laws that were given in the Old Testament for a reason, because the religious practices of these nations were not the same as the children of Israel. And in Deuteronomy and Leviticus, Numbers, where it talks about not making marriages with these people that were in the land of Canaan were not were the seed of fallen angels. They weren't really fully human, or what we would call man. They were half-breeds. That's why the Most High didn't want Israel mixing with them.
Okay.
They weren't people fully. They were genetically altered seed.
Like fallen, right?
Like angels, yeah.
Right. Wow.
Right.
That's good. Yeah. I told you.
All right.
Yeah. All right.
Chinese men are going to have babies with our African system.
Good. That's good explanation. That's good.
100% citizens of the nation of Nigeria and other nations where this is taking place, because Nigeria is not the only one. So the children, the biracial Chinese African children, will be 100% citizens of Nigeria, but they will be raised by their Chinese fathers to be loyal to the mother country of China. So these African Chinese will be African in body, but Chinese in mind. And they're going to use the next generation of African Chinese interracial babies to reconquer the entire West Africa because of our hatred for ourselves. This has happened before. The East Indians did it in South Africa. The Arabs did it in East Africa. This has happened before. The white man did it all throughout Africa, mixing with our children and using the babies, the biracial offspring, the psychologically confused offspring, to work in the interest of the country that rules. And so they're going to use those children to serve China, serve India, serve Europe. They look black, but their minds will be psychologically engineered by that other non-African parent to work against the best interests of our mother country. I am totally 100%, as the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey said, we are against interracial dating. The only marriage I respect is a black man with a black woman. I do not respect a black man with a white woman, a black woman with a white man, or any other race, including a black woman with a black woman or a black man with a black man. I don't do that nonsense either. The only African marriage is traditional African marriage, and it's a black man with an African.
Malachi chapter 2, verses 8 through 14. But ye are departed out of the way. Ye have caused many to stumble at the law. Ye have corrupted the covenants of Levi, saith Yahweh. Therefore have I also made you contemptible and base before all the people, according as ye have not kept my ways, but have been partial in the law. Have we not all one Father? Hath not one God created us? Why do we deal treacherously, every man against his brother, by profaning the covenants of our fathers? Judah hath dealt treacherously, and an abomination is committed in Israel and in Jerusalem. For Judah hath profaned the holiness of Yahweh, which he loved, and hath married the daughter of a strange god. Yahweh will cut off the man that does this.
Straight out to our very special guest, Steve Martin, the attorney for this murdered lottery winner's estate. Sir, you say you investigated how Dee Moore allegedly swindled and spent this man's money. How much money do you believe she swindled, and how did she spend it?
I think when she finally met him, he was down to $1.3 million in cash. That's what we see moving through various bank accounts. In addition, she had taken his house, for which he paid $1 million, and she somehow induced him to sign a deed and never paid him for it. She also had an agreement with him, supposedly, which called for her to pay him $185,000 for his other assets, which were basically mortgages he had taken back from people to whom he lent money. You see the money come into his account and then over to her account in early 2009, and then over the period of a year, she spent it all. She spent $1,300,000. You see some go from her to her boyfriend's account. It comes back into her account, and you see it throughout a continuous spending spree, taking trips to Las Vegas, buying jewelry, cash withdrawals. There was a Lincoln purchase. She bought her boyfriend a Corvette. She bought him a home, which we've been able to retrieve. She also purchased a vacant lot up in the Panhandle. But she
this woman was on a spending spree. And if prosecutors are right, I got to say, she's a fool. Because the idea that she could do all of this and that nobody would ever figure out that she would have this sort of just unbelievable instant source of money. Where did she?
I think you should expound on that other verse in Malachi. That has nothing to do with the marriage.
What that? Again, we have to understand that when Christ died, also he tore down the wall of middle partition in Ephesians 2, dividing Gentiles and Jews. So those laws in the Apocrypha, and again, should you prefer your own people? Of course, but God doesn't tell nobody to put away their wife or to divide their family anymore. That was Old Testament laws to keep Israel holy and separate. And plus, you don't know who is an Israelite now, really. I mean,
it's true. Because
anybody can be an Israelite. I mean, let me say that again, say that properly. Because the seed of Israel is spread throughout the earth, you can have white people that look as white as snow and be Israelite more than a black person.
Right.
So you can't judge someone's color, the skin color, to see if they're Israelite. Now, am I saying some white people are Israelites? I'm not. I don't know. I don't really. I'm gonna let Christ decide who his people is and divide the sheep from the goats. That's not my job. That's not my prerogative.
Amen.
Right?
That's right.
Let Christ decide who the real Israelites are.
That's right.
Oh, I mean, of course we know that the Negroes and Hispanics are the Israelites, but again, I'm gonna let Christ decide and divide the sheep from the goats. That's not my job.
No, that's right, brother. Good.
One more clip, everybody. Then we'll close.
I called myself a Christian, but it wasn't entirely what it looked like.
Many Christians are in a spiritual fog.
Yeah, like you.
Yeah. Watch this. The blind leading the blind.
Fast forward
You hear that, Tony?
100 years to the early 20th century, and a group of white Americans led by the Ku Klux Klan, they discovered not only that Jesus was white, but that he wasn't Jewish. And so in the early 20th century, we see the creation.
Now, just to fill in the,
that was good.
This guy, this guy is talking about the fact that Christ was not a white man. That he did research and he wrote a book about the original iconographic images of the Messiah being what we know as a black man, or I don't even like to use the word black because it's something that the white man or the Europeans put on them.
Right.
Israelite. He was Israelite. A Hebrew Israelite that had brown skin.
Right. And we don't know for sure how dark he was.
That
But he was
blonde
not Caucasian.
Jesus, not just a kind of brown-haired
Jewish
Jewish white.
He didn't have no blonde hair. He had no blue eyes.
Moments when white Americans refined and created this kind of white supremacist Jesus.
Also, in 2006, Jean-Claude Lamar did a film called The Color of the Cross. He had a black Jesus. He got death threats, and even of course on Fox News. Remember this past year, Megyn Kelly, she made perfectly clear. Look, Santa Claus white, Jesus white. So it's interesting when again you see this, and even some people have been criticized. They say, wait a minute, how are you going to black churches and there's a particular image when if you actually go to the Bible and look at the region of the country where Jesus was from, you look at really how the area is developed, it's a little hard to come up with this idea of this straight-haired, blue-eyed, European-centric Jesus. What role did Michelangelo play in all of this?
So, at first, very little. At first, the European painters of the Renaissance, they didn't influence British thinking, colonial thinking. That was really in the 19th century when white Americans become more refined, when they shift from being a colonial backwater to a real nation that's growing, and also with an increased number of Catholic immigrants. That's when we started seeing, a little after the American Civil War, we start seeing white Americans more interested in European artwork. But before then, the European artists, not so much.
I have a question. I know growing up in my auntie's home, in my grandma's home, you would see that iconic picture of the head of Christ that was the Nordic version that you mentioned before. I'm wondering in your research what you see now with the passing of the civil rights.
No, I don't know. I don't totally agree with that, but we do read about it in the Apocrypha, and we do know that Rome, America is an offshoot of Rome, so
that's right.
I don't so much agree with that point that God just made.
The popes
movement, the images that
the popes of that day paid. It's in the Apocrypha. They paid those artifacts. They paid all the painters in the Renaissance time to change that black Christ.
People of color have now of Jesus in their homes. Do you see more people leaning towards the black Jesus, or do people still continually have this more iconic white Jesus in their homes?
Yeah, that's a great question. If you watch the film The Butler closely, there's that white Jesus in the home of the butler at first, and then his son, his more black power son, has a black Jesus in his home, and that's reflective of one change. That if you go back 40 years, many more African American homes had the Warner Solomon head of Christ, the white Jesus, in their living rooms, in their homes. Now, one's far less likely to find those. So there's very few of the white Jesus images. There's some more of the more Afrocentric, maybe Rasta Jesuses. The hard part is when you go to churches, when you actually go to your church, it's expensive to change a stained glass window, right? Or if you want to take out an image from your church, well, that's where I had my conversion experience, right? That's where I prayed for forgiveness. That's where I mourned the death of my dad. When we start changing those atmospheres, that's when things get a little testy.
You know,
I went to Ghana a few years ago, and just by design, attended several churches. In Ghana, which is a Black African country, I did not see one Black Jesus. You go to these churches, very, again, African-oriented, but with the white.
And the whole service is very much about African culture. You got to
but you know, the exploitation of white supremacy came to these countries that were led by the English or the French for a very long time.
Portuguese.
And when we look at some of this, you know, basically exporting this, it's forgotten that the reason that both British.
So I would say to these people, what's the answer for the problem then?
That's right.
Instead of just pointing, what's the
Always
answer?
the problem, not the solution.
And in the United States, that white Jesus was used to justify enslavement.
Why do you continue to believe that the true identity of the Messiah doesn't matter? He was given a new name and appearance. I took over his identity to fool people like you. I understand that admitting the truth is a little painful and embarrassing. But why do you piss on your heritage?
We've been doing it for years.
You have people such as Watchman, Deborah, and others trying to wake you people up. But you are quite stubborn, I see. For me, it's all about deception, agendas, and tithe money. So I will continue to delude all those who are willfully ignorant. You do realize I am part of the strong delusion? The more you reject knowledge, the more you and your children will be rejected and cast aside. I have nothing to offer you, but I will gladly continue to take your praise. You folks will never learn, so I will keep deceiving.
Let's take a look at religion for a moment.
Wow.
When you really understand what religion is, you have some man who has taken ancient texts
I'm all about delusion.
and pass it around the world as doctrines. One of the biggest, most false and deceptive religions out there is Christianity.
Come on.
Most of you, when you hear that, you're like, oh my goodness, this woman has lost her mind.
See?
When you detach the foundation of Christianity from who the Father really truly is and who the Son really truly is, then you can understand where I'm coming from and what I'm talking about. Most of you won't even research Christianity. Most of you don't even care because this is what you grew up with. And so you feel offended that anyone could even dare talk against Christianity or Islam or Buddhism or any of these religions. Even those who call themselves atheists, that's now becoming a religion. These are nothing but man-made religions. And for those of you who think Christianity is stemming from those who serve and worship Christ, what if I told you he wasn't even called Christ? What if I told you that if you do research, you'll find out that there were Christians around before Yahushua, the one the world calls Jesus, was even born? Then you may say, so why do we call ourselves Christians when so-called Christians were around before the Messiah was even born? It's already attached to a false pagan religion for those who used to worship Serapis. If you didn't see Whited Out Part 3, maybe you should take a look at that one so that you can get an understanding of where Christianity actually came from, so you don't get offended if you hear someone say that Christianity is the white man's religion. It was through slavery that the so-called slave master would take his religion. He took our book, which is the Bible, ancient text that was stolen from our people. He put his spin on it, handed it to us, and said, slaves, obey your masters and fear them as you would Yahuwah.
But they speak not.
Can you say anything? What's your name? Who's your daddy? Are you the Son of God? Are you he that should come?
Lord.
Or should we look for another?
Lord. They have mouths, but they speak not.
Was it you that turned water into wine? Was it you that walked on water?
My Lord. They have mouths, but they speak not.
What's the matter? Satan got your tongue? Oh, he mocked religion. I'm making mockery of a lie.
That's right.
You gotta destroy the lie that's in people.
That's right.
In order for you to be free, the lies that's in your mind must be crushed.
Amen.
Brainwash. That's right.
Amen.
The lie gotta come out your mind.
Come out your mind.
You need brain surgery, heart surgery. Do you hear the word of God talking?
They have mouths.
They got mouths.
But they speak not.
What else?
Eyes have they.
Oh, he got big ones.
Amen.
And what?
But they see not. Amen.
You know how the devil trick people? They got big pictures like this. And they say, oh, it look like his eyes is moving. Look, it look like his eyes is moving.
That's right.
They got eyes and what?
They have eyes, but they see not.
Many what? Many words?
Amen.
How many here used to be Catholics? Raise your hand.
Pardon.
How many of you would bow to statues? How many of you would do the crucifix? You know what I'm talking about, don't you?
That's right. That's right.
Holiness is liberation, preacher.
It's good, Josh. Now they'll come into understanding. Right?
I don't hate the Catholics. I hate liars.
Well, do you hate the Catholics?
I hate the lie. Do you know how many people carry crucifix in their pocketbook, round their neck, feeling it, believe that it will protect them? It's good luck. The Spirit of God is in it, moving beings around. They get more comfort out of bees than they do from God.
You heard it.
Some of y'all preachers that are watching,
listen, wait.
You got this in your church. On your wall. Choir singing, and this is in back of them. Is that right?
Amen.
Amen. Listen.
They have mouths, but they speak not. Eyes have they, but they see not. They have ears, but they hear not.
Now let's get the book of Exodus and see what God commanded us not to do.
That's right.
Everybody all right?
That's right.
The messengers of Satan that causes people to bow through the manipulation of religion. Religion plays a major role in the destruction of the human family.
Wow,
they are destroyed through religion.
I'm being blessed now.
Man-made religion. And they say, oh, some man wrote the Bible. Let me give you some knowledge and intelligence. It ain't a man ever wrote a book that's against him.
That's right.
It's not even in a man to write something that's against him.
No way.
Whenever man writes something, brother, he gonna make sure he got freedom to do whatever he wants to do.
That's right.
Get chapter and verse and read quick. I want to certify as I go.
Exodus chapter 20 and we're at verse 3. Thou shalt have no other gods before me.
God talking.
God spake all these words.
God spake all these words.
Saying, thou shalt have no other gods.
Thou shalt have no other God before me.
Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image.
Wait a minute. Don't say fellas in, but this is engraved. It's painted.
Same thing.
It's an image.
It's an image.
I just want to know who it is.
So
go ahead, Josh. Well, I'm happy about this now. That blesses me. That means all work is going forward.
I wonder.
Yeah. It will.
So if this brother. So what if this is fake? What does he look like? These Christians.
Sure.
You gotta be careful with these slick Christians, because he's not gonna go to I've heard this person preach before. They believe, color doesn't matter.
Oh, is that right? Oh, wow, man.
So he's making a big point about if that's the wrong image of Christ, what is the correct one? That he won't tell you that he's black.
Wow, go to it, John. Show them.
You're right.
Is that right?
Write it down. Because I know some of you are so sentimental.
Amen.
Are you sure?
And some of you will write television stations. I'm appalled at what that man just did to my Jesus. If this is your Jesus, you can have him.
That's right. Don't be singing for us.
Like I just said,
okay, Josh, okay.
If he's right, but then what does the real one look like? If you're so deep, Christian, tell me. But then you'll have to expose your religion of Christianity.
Right, that's right. Good, Josh.
So be careful with these quasi-deep Christian pastors. They're on the edge of Christianity, like Black Liberation, Christian
they're not fully
pastors.
over on the right side. They're not. Yeah, you're right.
Because they're still going to tell you color don't matter. It's all about being in the spirit, you know. Christ, you know, all this. You know what Christian pastors teach people.
Come on.
All this philosophy and empty lies.
It's true. It's true now.
Living for Jesus. Take it away, Johnny.
Jesus Christ, saints. You know I don't see nothing wrong with living for Jesus Christ, saints. I don't see nothing wrong with living for Jesus Christ.
Nope, you're not living for the right one.
That's why you can't use that name.
First of all,
that's idolatry.
If this is in your head, and I know it is, that this individual ain't serving Christ. He's serving the master. He's serving the white man.
Anybody who uses that name that is not in understanding.
World, praying that God will reveal everybody right here.
He's right. It's emotional. It's emotional.
I don't even like your gospel music, yet you sing it to me anyway.
Here we go. Yeah,
I'm more of a Led Zeppelin, Ozzy Osbourne, Pink Floyd type of guy. Don't you think it's about time that you wake up to who I really am? I'm not your savior.
Me and this impostor are actually the same. I created him to deceive you. Your savior actually looks more like you, but you've been brainwashed to believe that it doesn't matter. I am now trying to set the record straight, but your resistance to truth is staggering and foolish.
One of the things that angered the Most High more than anything was the children of Israel worshiping false gods, worshiping images and idols and all kinds of things.
I tell them today too, Josh,
and because we
that's what they're doing.
somewhat never repented from that. The Most High said, I'm going to put you almost in an impossible situation. I'm going to put you into a land where you're going to be worshiping idols made of wood and stone. That's that image you call Jesus, you see. Now, a lot of our people, they get offended when you try to talk about the real, true Hebrew name of the Most High. They don't even want to hear it because they are so in love with the name of Jesus and the so-called white image of Jesus. This is why in a lot of black churches, you have this white stained glass image of Jesus hanging behind the pulpit or the podium. And if you try to point that out that this is wrong, that it angers the Most High, what do our people say? Many of us say, well, it doesn't matter. Okay, so you're saying that it doesn't matter, but the Most High himself saying that it does matter. He says, I'm a jealous Elohim, but you're saying it doesn't matter? Now, let me paint out this scenario for you. Okay, if you are a husband and wife, and you're in the bed together, and if your wife, speaking to your husbands now, if your wife began to call on another man's name while you two are together, you can't tell me that that will sit well with you. And to the women, if your husband was calling out Brenda, but your name is Teresa, you mean to tell me you wouldn't have a problem with that? See, The Most High don't like that. We have been calling him Lord, God. We've been calling the Son's name Jesus. We've been calling Christ. All of these names that were never the names of the Father and the Son. And we have said it doesn't matter. But the Most High said those who deny not his name, he said he has a blessing for them. Now I want you to remember this. In the scripture, he says, I came in my Father's name. For me, you won't receive. But another shall come in his own name.
Come on, that's
and
right.
him you will receive.
Yeah, I always use the scripture.
You see, family, most of us have received this Jesus Christ character. And when you try to challenge the image and the name, we say it don't matter. And this is why the Most High has poured out his judgment. His word already prophesied that this would happen, that we would serve these false gods with these false images, even though
and where are the Hebrews today?
In the Christian church, where are the Hispanics? In the Christian church. And think to change things into the likeness of their images. So that's why every movie we see, every image of so-called Jesus that we see is a white image. And everyone all of a sudden gets so defensive and angry when you point out the fact that he wasn't a so-called white man. He wasn't no tan man. He wasn't no olive-colored man. He wasn't no Arab-looking man. But he was a so-called black man. You see, when you point those facts out, all of a sudden people get into fight mode. Even if they ain't ready to beat you down physically, they're ready to tear you apart with their lips because they despise the truth, because they despise Yahushua HaMashiach, the one who the world calls Jesus. Remember this, he told us, he said, the world hated me and they will hate you too. That's why they hate us, because we look like the image of our Father.
So I will put us back on now.
Wow. What a mockery.
Was that good, everybody?
I'm hoping our viewers got blessed. This was really good tonight.
So we do thank and praise the Most High, Ahayah, and his son Yashayah again for this truth. I mean, when you think about it, religion has done such a mind trick on people,
destruction on people,
that it is amazing to really think how someone can follow something that is responsible for deceiving and
destroying,
not even trying to correct and say, you know what? Let's tell the truth about who the Israelites are, who Christ, who the Messiah really looks like. But nah. Give us your money. You know.
Well, I want to say something. She's right. What you just heard that sister say. There have been times when I almost felt I almost had to defend myself physically. Not really like she said, not like this, but with their mouth, like to defend that false Christ. But I did the same thing too. I didn't know any better. When you don't know any better, you're going to defend it. Rakar said it. He said it too. He said he would die for that white Christ one time. But since 92, no, he found the truth. Once you find truth, we can't force this truth on anyone. We can just bring it. And we expect you to do the research.
And the facts will speak for itself.
They will.
Now, if you want to reject facts, go ahead. Go to your pastor and let him soothe you to sleep and send you to hell. Again, if you want to reject facts, just...
Not us. He'll send you to a burning hell.
Stay long enough. Just stay in your church, blind and dumb like a sheep, and go and walk off the cliff.
That's
exactly what you're going to do.
The word says, listen, I want to say something. Corinthians says, if the righteous, us and millions of us, keep the law in Christ, we have an outside chance to make it. If the righteous scarcely make it in, where is the sinner going to appear? What leg are you going to have to stand on?
Absolutely.
On that day? No leg.
So, shalom.
We love you. Shalom.